Our truck slowly stops and I shake myself out of my thoughts. The parking lot is completely gone. A thin layer of snow formed on the asphalt, completely untouched. There is something mesmerizingly peaceful about the white expanse. No matter how many times I see this sight, it never ceases to affect me. Damn it, Lizzie. So beautiful, isn't it? My husband smiles as he sits behind the wheel next to me. Just like you. He winks at me and I feel my heart threatening to break again. I can't let it show. I can't. I close my eyes so I can't see his face and smile back at him. I know my eyes are about to cry behind my glasses, but I have to stay strong. If I show even a little of the emotions raging inside me, I will give everything away. A second voice comes from the back seat. I agree with Jason. I'm really glad you recommended this trip to me, Elizabeth. Since when haven't we all gone to the range together? Well, maybe since college? Jason laughs. Well, it's hard to get out to the range these days. It's a decent trip into the outback. The cost of ammo continues to rise, and with conflicting schedules. Remember when we used to go shooting all the time? Faye's voice is full of longing, and I can hear her fidgeting in the back seat, getting ready. I force my voice to remain in a normal register. Oh, those were the days. Back then I had no idea how to shoot. Jason had to teach me everything. I'm amazed at how natural my words sound. I shouldn't do this. I've been playing this charade for a while now, but of course they continued their game longer. I am in awe of their skill. Faye's voice rises cheerfully and a chuckle escapes her lips. Okay, let's say it in unison now. Keep your bigger hook away from the trigger. We say the mantra in unison, and friendly laughter is heard. This is good. Laughing is good. This makes it easier to hold back other emotions. We remember, I say, still giggling. I can't decide if this sound is genuine or not. The expression is funny, but not as funny as what my life has become. This is the funniest joke ever. Rule number 1 in firearm safety is to have fun. No, 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 my husband swears, also laughing. This is a bad option. Don't beat around the bush and don't talk like that. Wait a minute, Jason. Elizabeth told me you were the one who taught her that phrase. Don't be a hypocrite. I will neither confirm nor deny such accusations. Then I'll get busy confirming it. I grin. Oh God, I feel like my head is going to explode. He actually taught me that expression, but that's okay. We're all hypocrites here. I'm still laughing a little, and notice a short pause from my companions. They look at me calmly, and the smiles return to their faces. Damn, they're good. Almost perfect exposure. I guess everyone is a hypocrite to one degree or another, Jason muses. I nod and open the truck door. Cool air rushes in, and I feel a shiver run down my spine. This is perfect murder weather. I don't know if I want to laugh, cry, or commit suicide. I think I have already made my choice, but soon I will finally make my decision. My boots crunch on the freshly fallen snow, and I open the back door for Faye. She hands me one of the gun cases, and I easily take it. She slides out of her seat and places the headphones on her head. Damn, it's cold, she mutters, visibly shivering as her exhales form clouds of steam in the frosty air. I put on my own headphones and raise my voice to compensate. This is true. It's a shame there aren't any indoor shooting ranges nearby. Suddenly, Jason appears next to me. He's already got his eye and ear protection on and leans down to kiss the top of my head. This simple gesture confuses me, and I wonder if I can get through this. I can. I know I can. It's just a matter of time and patience. We take the rest of the guns out of the truck and walk to the covered shooting ranges. Jason sets down his gun case and walks over to the outdoor electric heater. The car comes to life, and we sigh as warm air begins to blow over us. It doesn't have the full effect, but we're bundled up pretty well, and the hot air feels nice on our exposed faces. Jason stretches. Well, I guess I'll set up targets for you ladies. Think I'll set them at 100 yards. Then, oh no, wait. There is no trembling in my voice. If it had, I would have chalked it up to the cold. This trip was my idea. I'll set up the first circle of targets. It's only fair. Without waiting for approval, I grab a stack of targets and an industrial stapler. Freeze the shooting, shoot! I shout out of habit. Jason gave me this idea many years ago. You never walk past a shooting range without calling a freeze, unless you want to risk accidentally getting shot. We hadn't even taken the guns out of their cases yet, but I couldn't bring myself to move away from the shooting range without repeating that phrase. "It's already really cold here," Jason exclaims, and we start laughing again. I notice Jason and Faye making fleeting eye contact, and I immediately turn away, heading for the curbs. Tears are welling up in my eyes, and now I can't stop them. The only sounds I hear are the gentle crunch of the snow under my feet, the soft cry of a bird that was too stupid to fly south, and the shared laughter of my husband and his secret lover. It takes me a full minute to get all the way to the targets. This time gives me all the opportunity I need to reflect on my life up to this point and my plans for the rest of my life. Mentally looking into my past and future, I see only pain and suffering. I suppose there was happiness in the beginning, but somehow that just makes the agony that much deeper. The bigger the treasure, the more painful it is to lose, right? I wonder how long ago my treasure was stolen from me. I'll probably never know for sure, but I think a lot of time has passed. Honestly, I feel like if I had lost to someone other than Faye, I might have felt less bad about it. It's not just that she was my closest friend since school. It's not even that she's been holding me all this time. Fool. The worst memory is the memory of holding her close to me in the college dorm, crying with her and cursing the guy who cheated on her and broke her heart. Now I can hardly even remember this guy's name. I think it was Charles. They dated for about 6 months. It's nothing like 13 years of marriage. I guess we're all hypocrites, but some of us are worse than others. Before I reach the last goal, all my tears run out. I think some are frozen to my cheeks, but I'll be sure to clean them off before I go back. I can't decide if her betrayal is worse than Jason's, but I definitely feel more willing to forgive him. He is my husband, and if he slept with any other woman, I would be heartbroken. Faye, on the other hand, might have sex with any man in the galaxy and I wouldn't care. There was only one guy I needed her to stay away from, and she couldn't resist. I wonder what they are talking about now. When I'm around, they don't often get to spend time alone. Are they agreeing on a date for their next escapade? Probably not. I'm pretty sure they plan this all out months in advance. Of course, this is not difficult when the lover's wife is a gullible fool, isn't it? As I secure the targets in place, a funny thought occurs to me. They could shoot me right now. Accident at the landfill. So simple. So simple. I suppose they would be subject to some scrutiny, but it doesn't seem like I would be able to expose them. I would be a cooperative corpse. Part of me wishes they would do just that. Come on, Jason. Just be strong and shoot me already. Then I will die, and you can spend the rest of your life with your new lover. Make up your mind. My voice is quiet, I whisper, but even at this distance, I wish he could hear me. Just make it clean, baby. I do not want to suffer. Haven't I suffered enough? I turn and look at this couple. Yes, they are far from each other. Very correct. Not suspicious in the least. Smart ass. Not smart enough, I guess, but smart nonetheless. I have always respected my husband for his cunning mind. Jason waves at me to hurry up. I want to yell at him, but I just go. Does he want me to come back? What an irony. Once I reach the shooting benches again, Jason reaches out and pulls me closer to the heater. The sudden wave of warmth feels so amazing after the cold outdoors. The weapons are laid out on the table in the warmth of a heater, which we hope will protect us from the cold. The scope is also adjusted and aimed at the targets along with our firearm. Who will go first? I can if you want. Jason? Elizabeth? I think Lizzie should go first. After all, this trip was her idea. I smile tenderly at my husband, channeling every positive memory I can to keep myself from crying. I haven't cried yet, so I think it works pretty well. I'll go first, I say, shrugging. I guess I've pretty much forgotten. I walk over to the box of ammo and empty the pack into my palm, stuffing it into my jacket pocket. Faye chuckles politely. Ha, Elizabeth, you always put bullets in your jacket pocket. Why not just insert them directly into the magazine? Well, Okay, Jason interrupts. You've been away from the shooting range for too long, Faye. Sorry, sweetie, what did you say? I told you that putting them in my pocket warms them up so they aren't so cold when I pick them up. Oh yes, my ex-girlfriend nods. I forgot. I soon take bullets out of my pocket to fill the magazine and click it into the carbine. The metal of the carbine is really cold, but not too cold. The weapon belonged to my grandfather, an M1 carbine. I remember his story about the time he was forced to use it. Not a very pleasant story. I think he always wanted to pass this on to his grandson, but it was just me. So I guess he had to settle for that. But he never taught me how to shoot it. I sit down and aim my rifle at the targets. "Hot shooting, shoot," Jason shouts, and I feel all eyes turn to me. I'm wearing shooting glasses, and I silently pray that they will hide the moisture that accumulates in the corners of my eyes. I can barely see the target. I pull the trigger and the recoil terrifies me. The hit is relatively light, but I'm not a very big girl, and yet it doesn't hurt. You really missed the mark, Elizabeth," Faye says, and you can hear a grin in her voice. "Below and to the right. It's been a long time since we last shot. I'm sure I'll miss it too. I fire a few more shots, but they are all ineffective. One almost cuts through the bottom of the paper, but none of them come close to the center of the target. I think I need to get my eyes checked," I say, feigning laughter. I wipe the moisture from my eyes as casually as possible. I must still be half asleep. "It's okay, honey." Jason's voice is so warm and understanding. Somehow, this makes everything worse. "Let me show you, just like I did the first time." He sits down on the bench behind me, wrapping his warm, strong arms around my body. It takes all my willpower to stop myself from sobbing uncontrollably. "I must be strong! I must be strong!" Oh, Faye coos. "I remember how he taught you to shoot when you had no idea what to do. He hugged you so much. The urge to turn around and blow her head off is almost overwhelming. I can't." Jason would still try to stop me. "Remember, baby, relax your muscles. Don't tense up. Point the weapon at the firing range and take a breath. The target should be slightly blurry, and so should the rear sight. Focus on the front sight. Press the trigger as you exhale. I know all these instructions." He quotes his instructions from my first lesson, almost word for word. Strong male arms hugging me make me want to faint. I love him so much. Why should I love this man? This fucking bastard? With all my heart? I don't know, but any attempt to deny this fact is futile. If only he had shot me while I was setting up targets. I would be dead, and he could be happy. But I guess it's not meant to be this way. I fire a few more shots. His guiding hands improve my attempts, but I'm still nowhere near the bullseye. Faye clicks her tongue. Maybe the guns ran out of charge or something? Laughter drives away my sadness. "No, this is my merit. You guys try it and see if I'm wrong." Faye sits in my seat and takes my carbine. Coincidentally, she didn't take her gun with her. She has to use mine. The irony of this fact is so bitter that I have to bite my lip to suppress a scream. Of course, she doesn't have her own weapon. She can always borrow it from her best friend. I've never had a problem with her using anything of mine, with one notable exception, but that didn't exactly stop her, did it? A gunshot cracks, and Jason looks through the scope. "Hey, not bad, Faye. A little lower and to the left." I hear the second episode, and again, my husband seems impressed. "Even better, but I feel like you might be going a little overboard. You still have a little bit left, but this time you're high." Several more shots are fired, and each time she seems to do better. She's better than me, that's obvious. I guess she's always been like this. Prettier, smarter. She's damn good at getting what she wants, that's for sure. I would admire her if I didn't hate her so much. Perhaps her streak of success will end today. Let's see. After she unloads the weapon, my husband comes forward. He has his dad's old M1 Garand. This is the older brother of my carbine, much more powerful. His father bought him from a retired veterinarian. He may have seen a fight, but not with anyone from Jason's family. I'm sure there's irony in this too, but I'm too emotional to think about it at the moment. Step aside, ladies. It's time to see a real shooter at work. It's not a girl's gun either. This is a man's weapon. He places the carbine on the ground. After looking around at those sitting at the table, he turns to me. Lizzie, you have it. Here you go, honey." I hand him the fully loaded clip. Darling, this name thunders in my head, reverberating in the depths of my skull and gaining momentum. His heart is no longer sweet, at least for me. Everything is fine. I also have very little sweetness left in me. Jason inserts the entire clip, careful not to snap the safety on his finger. He takes aim, pausing only for a moment, and fires. Looking through the viewfinder, Faye whistles. "Bullseye! Very impressive. Thank you, thank you." He makes a mock bow. He fires a few more bullets, all of which hit their target. He's as good as ever. On the last shot, the clip flies out and falls to the floor with a clang. I lift it carefully. My husband's smile is incredibly wide, and he keeps it there until he turns and looks at me. He must see the conflicting emotions on my face because his smile fades somewhat. Is everything okay, baby?" I nod my head, desperately hoping I didn't give anything away. "I'm fine. I guess I'm just ashamed that I'm the only one who can't hit the target today." "Oh, honey." He gets up and hugs me again. The arms that I once loved so much are hugging me, and it's too heavy for me. All my emotions came flooding in at once, and my entire cool girl facade was swept away by an uncontrollable surge of sadness. I just wanted to hit the target like I did before." My words are muffled by his hand, and I almost scream into his jacket. Why am I not good enough anymore? Why can't things just be the way they were when we were younger? Why? I'm trying so hard. What else can I do? The warmth of his embrace only fuels the fire of resentment and torment. When did I stop being good enough? I used to be fine, and I never stopped trying. It's so natural for you and Faye. Why am I the only one who has lost his grip? The endless rush of emotions that pour out is more than I can bear, and I burst into wild, frantic sobs. He pulls me away from his body and looks into my eyes. I expect to see some shared pain, some degree of mutual grief. Instead, there is only confusion and perhaps irritation and pity. "There's no reason to cry, Lizzie." There is a hint of comfort in his words, but it almost sounds like a rebuke. To him, I'm a capricious child, crying about things I don't understand. I'm not a child, but he's right about one thing. I don't understand. I don't think I'll ever understand it. He pulls me close again and I hug him incredibly tightly. I want him so bad. But most of all, I just want to be wanted. I've always needed him to choose me, but he's torn apart. I swear this will end today. "Yes, dear. Everything is fine." Faye's voice is so calm and protective. If I hadn't lowered the carbine, she would have been dead. There is no reason to be upset or embarrassed. Of course, Jason and I did better, but you're just rusty. Wait a little and you'll be back to normal. Jason and Faye. Together, they form a single whole. They make the perfect team, and they are better than me, individually and in pairs. Why didn't they just kill me when I got within range? I wiped the tears from my eyes and looked down, running my hands over my jacket. The cartridges in your pocket clink against each other. Honestly, Faye, I don't think things will ever go back to normal. I've lost something that I can't get back. I'll never be as precise as I once was. I can feel it. Maybe I'll get over it, but I can't go back. The past is in the past. No point in letting it get me down, huh? Jason and Faye exchange a brief glance. An understanding look? Guilty? Whatever it was, it disappeared in an instant. They've been doing this for a long time. They're damn good at faking it. Just like that, the sadness begins to dry up. It doesn't happen instantly, but I feel like the process is starting. I rub my eyes and my husband hands me a tissue to blow my nose. I try to give my voice a little cheerfulness. "Good, baby. Since you ruined the center of the target, you can go patch up the holes, and we'll try again. Maybe I can even cut the paper in circles. This time I set the goal at 150. Maybe this will be a challenge for you, baby." Jason seems a little unsure. After all, just a few seconds ago, I was crying like a baby, and now I'm acting normal. Still, he nods and shrugs. "Fine, I'll be right back. Shooting shoot is cold." "Very cold," Faye and I say in one voice and laugh. The joke is no longer funny, but I feel like my laugh is convincing enough. I can pretend too, even if I can't match their endless supply of talent. As my husband starts to get the hang of the targets, I start reloading my magazine. So, Faye, I don't want to pry into other people's business, but how is your personal life going? Any hot guys on the horizon? If you don't mind me asking, of course. Out of the corner of my eye, I see her looking at me suspiciously. She's good, but I think Jason is a better artist. I've already cried for the day, so my face is neutral and passive as I load the bullets one by one. Honestly, it's a pleasant experience, like a fidget toy, only deadly. Finally, my serene face must have convinced her, because she leans back on the bench and says, there is not an ounce of suspicion in her voice. Not really, I've been looking at dating sites. Nothing worthwhile. Yes, sometimes it is difficult to find a good, honest man. I'm so lucky to have Jason. Yes, you can be envied. She's watching me again, but it seems to me that now she has a proud grin on her face. Hard to say. I keep my eye on the ammo as it comes into the store. I think he is honest to the point of impossibility. Of course, she would like to assure me that Jason can be trusted. It's a necessary part of the game, although what its ultimate purpose is, I have no idea. I won't blame him too much, I answer, slamming the magazine back into place. The carbine is on safety, but I wrap my fingers around the handle and chamber the cartridge. Technically, you shouldn't reload new ammo when the shooting range is cold, but if Faye notices this, she doesn't say anything. With the gun comfortably resting on my hips, I begin to remove the 30-06 ammo from my pocket and insert it into the Garand clip. I look into the distance. Faye, how long have we been friends? Faye also seems distracted by something. 18 years old or more? A lot of time has passed. This is true. You always had a shoulder to cry on. I'm here for you, sister. I think she's watching Jason now. He has some problems with the stapler. I insert the last round into the clip and hand it to her. Here, put this in Jason's carbine, please. She looks at me uncertainly. I don't know if Jason would agree if I handled his weapon. Handle his weapon? At this moment, I almost point the rifle at her, but somehow I restrain myself. Faye, just do it. There's nothing special about it. Just make sure it's safe. I don't want anyone to get shot by accident. I'm sure Jason won't mind if you handle his weapon. There is no humor or malice in my voice. I have no idea how I will manage to do this. Incredibly hesitant, she takes the clip from my hand. She watches my face, perhaps again with suspicion. This time I look her straight in the eyes. Continue, Faye. While we are young. This time I smile, but my expression drips with hatred. She inserts the clip into the magazine and pulls the trigger hard. Without warning, the action snaps into place, pressing against your finger. She screams, and I jump up to help her. Oh my God! Faye, are you okay? I put care into my words, and it seems to me that no actress in the world could have played better. I rush towards her, but first I throw my carbine over my shoulder. Tears well up in her eyes, and I don't blame her. I know it hurts like hell. Loading a clip into a Garand can be a little dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. I'm guessing that in all the time they spent alone, the proper procedures for loading the M1 were never learned. What a disgrace. Jason taught me this many years ago when we were going through the tedious process of disassembling and cleaning our firearms. Faye has never been there in this role. Her fun is different. I guess she shouldn't have handled Jason's gun, after all. My husband suddenly appears next to her. He must have run the rest of the way back. His voice sounds just as concerned as mine, except of course he's not faking it. Now it was Faye's turn to howl like a petulant child. Lizzie told me to load the magazine in. Insert the clip into the magazine. I correct her, and then frown in mock embarrassment. I'm really sorry. I didn't know this would happen. I should kill that bitch for calling me Lizzie. Previously, I would have said that only Jason was allowed to call me that, but at the moment, I just don't want to hear it from anyone at all. It's called the Thumb of Garand. Jason Mance explains as he takes her hand in his, examining the wound, an endlessly loving gesture. I bet he doesn't want her to hurt the good hand she uses to amuse him. My fingers feel for the butt of the carbine, but I leave it behind my back. Everything is fine? Do we need to go to the hospital? Of course, I already know the answer. Unless it broke her finger, which I suppose is possible, although unlikely, I think she'll be fine. She can barely contain her own sons, and yet Jason somehow hesitates to scold her the way he scolded me. Sure, getting a painful blow to the thumb is a bigger reason to cry than missing a target. But when your husband of 13 years is sleeping behind your back with your best friend, I believe the jury is still out on this issue. Should we go home, Faye? We can, if you need. She slows down her ragged sobs, turning them into something manageable. If she says, we have to go home, I'll probably just kill them both right now. This is not what I want, but I can't say that I don't like this idea at all. I think I'll be fine. There's a Band-Aid in the truck, right? I nod. When you take it, can you also bring a target with a steel ring? I have to ask Jason something in private. I can see that Jason is going to object to me giving our little wounded warrior tasks, but the look on my face makes him think. Faye suddenly looks less hurt and more worried. But what can she do? Of course, a woman has the right to have secrets with her husband, even if her husband kept his secrets from her with his disgusting home-wrecking girlfriend. Yes. Faye. Take the bandage. There's concern in his voice, but he tries to look confident as Faye walks toward the truck. And the steel bell target too, please, Faye? I think the ice in my voice is bothering them both. The carbine still hangs from my shoulder, but my gaze is calm. Of course, there is not a drop of rage in my eyes, which in fact is gradually beginning to replace my sadness. What do you want, baby? Jason asks, hiding the worry in his voice almost perfectly. I came closer. I'm sorry about Faye's thumb. It was an accident. Lies come so easily from my lips that they even shock me. But I wanted to talk about something else. Before she got hurt, I was just thinking to myself, I don't think you can hit the bullseye 7 more times at the 150 mark and then the same thing at the 200 mark. Jason cocks his head to the side, clearly confused. The conversation didn't go in the direction he expected. Honey, you know I can do this. You saw me destroy the center at 100 yards. These goals aren't even that small. Look, as much as I want to show off, I really think we should cut this trip short. Faye is injured and, if you can do it, I'll give you pleasure tonight. All the way. There's a mischievous glint in my eyes that my husband immediately clings to. Your goal is to give me something easy, just so you can please me. There's only one way to find out. All my sarcasm and rage boils over into a sexual frenzy, and I swear I can see the bulge in his pants. It's been a long time since I've done something like this for him, although it's also been a long time since he asked. I guess he has someone else for that. You did it, sexy. He grins with lustful delight, and I swear I almost puked. Since when did you suddenly become like this? He loads a new cartridge, which loads much easier than Faye's thumb, and takes aim. Shooting shoot is hot! I scream instinctively. 7 deafening shots are heard, and then the shots fall silent. He puts the carbine on safety. I walk up and look through the optical sight. He hit the center 6 times. The 7th mark is a little high. Technically, it's a miss, but I'm not going to complain. I take out my phone and start filming it. What can you say in your defense, Mr. Ace Gun? That was damn good shooting. I never miss it. He beams and I smile back, tucking my phone into my front jacket pocket. Like most of my jackets, the front pocket is too shallow and my phone sticks out almost halfway. Faye approaches with a target. A worried look appears on her face, but it instantly disappears when she sees Jason's delight. I wonder how she would feel if she knew why he was upset? I think it probably wouldn't bother her. She knows what he's like. I think even better than I do. Faye, could you go and set up targets at 200 yards, please? My voice is as dead as I feel. What? Hey, I'm in pain and I don't want to go. Faye, please just do as you are asked. There's an edge to Jason's words that's clearly surprising, but then his voice softens. I mean, if you don't mind, I would really appreciate it. Faye doesn't look too happy, but she slowly complies with the request. Shooting shoot is cold, she mutters something irritably. Very cold, Jason grins, endlessly pleased with himself. Such a big man, my husband, capable of effortlessly subjugating all the women in his life to his will. The sound of Faye's footsteps slowly fades, and I sit down opposite Jason. Sitting down, I take the rifle off my back and point the muzzle directly at my husband's head. There is an incredibly subtle click as I release the safety of the weapon. It takes him a few moments to notice. I think he was watching Faye's ass. I think this is clear. That's a nice ass. What? Wow! Lizzie is not... Keep your voice down, you adulterous piece of shit, or I swear to God, I'll decorate this whole place with your brains. Jason's eyes go wide, even wider than when he saw the gun pointed at his face. What? Hey! Lie to me even once, and for this I will smash your head in. Rule number 1 in firearms is to have fun, and if you lie to me just one time, I'll have fun. I see the gears turning in the snake pit he calls his mind. Such vicious thoughts, all of them spiraling to help him think of a way to defuse this situation. Unfortunately for him, there is only one way out of this situation. This is my way, and he doesn't like it. Fine. He shouldn't like it. Lizzie, listen. No, shut up and listen. I knew this for a long time and was biding my time. But now you're exactly where I want you. I want you to answer my questions. If you say one word I don't want to hear, or if you scream at your lover, you're dead. Also, get your carbine if you want to die. Right now, I'm happy with everything. Nod. If you understand, or I may just shoot you immediately. I see realization dawning on him. Not only do I know he's a traitor, I know it has something to do with Faye. Reality gradually begins to dawn on him. He nods. My resentment and rage could not be stronger. Part of me insists that I must pull the trigger immediately, but I resist the urge. I feel like I'm about to start crying again, but I resist that too. We've been married for 13 years, Jason. 13 years. Not once during all this time did I look at another man. I know I wasn't perfect, but damn it, I tried. I cared. I was there for you no matter what, and... Wait a minute. Jason begins, but immediately falls silent when I point the gun at his nose. He brings his hands to his face and narrows his eyes. The reaction is automatic, but at the same time, humorous in some way. His fingers won't stop a .30 caliber bullet. A quick glance shows me that Faye is still there. She didn't hear anything. Perfect. I move the muzzle away from his face, now just pointing it at his chest. He relaxes, but only slightly. This is not the part where we list mutual shortcomings, Jason. If you think I'm pretending to be the perfect wife, then you're deaf and stupid, in addition to being a libertine. But do you want to know the craziest part? As much as I want to hate you, I'm even more angry at Faye. Was she trying to take you away from me? Why do you? Answer me. Why are you? She is the initiator, Jason exclaims, immediately throwing his second love under the metaphorical bus. She was the first to approach me, and I resisted her for a very long time, until... I point at him again, and he involuntarily falls silent with his mouth open. That's what I thought, I say, nodding. You are a weak-willed husband, and she is a vile friend. He clearly wants to nod, but he's trying to figure out if I'm being sarcastic or not. Well, my problem is that I fell in love with a slimy, pathetic man, I exclaim, as if in despair. I could kill you now and claim it was an accident. It would be my word against, well, I suppose against no one. Faye could try to expose me, but if she accused me of murder, she would have to provide a motive. I don't think she's ready to do this. In the end, my only motive is the fact that you cheated on me. With her. She would have to admit to everyone that she is a slut, and I don't think she wants her family to know about her indiscretions. I can see beads of sweat on Jason's face, even in this freezing weather. He understands that everything is serious. Please, Elizabeth, he says, even though I asked him not to do this. I just listen. Think about all the good times we had together. If you kill me, all this will disappear and... Tears begin to stream down my face and I slightly squeeze the trigger. Not enough to shoot, but the movement feels so cleansing. My vision starts to blur, so I make sure the gun is pointed directly at his head. I only have one chance at this. Fuck! No, wait, Liz, Elise, you do not want— Shut up, Jason! I hissed with disgust in my voice. If I leave you alive, what will you do? He freezes. I think part of him never expected to get this far. Would you stay with me? Tears from my eyes flow down my cheeks. Part of me feels so weak. Yes. If you wanted, I would. Would you ever look at another woman again? No, I would never. I would. Fine. There is some relief in my voice. I wasn't sure we'd get this far, but now we're here. You know I love you, right? He nods, afraid to speak. And you know that I've always loved you, right? He nods again. And if I leave you alive, will you continue to love me forever? His body shakes as he speaks. Yes, Lizzie, He starts to get up, but the gun is aimed at his face again. So, as far as I understand, Faye means nothing to you, and this was all just a mistake that you are willing to correct and never repeat. I see the relief appear on his face. If I'm talking about him making amends, then he is, in fact, clean before the Scots. She was a mistake, Lizzie. I let my weakness get the best of me. I'm a weak person and I'm sorry, but you are the only woman I've ever loved. I feel my tear ducts drying up. I heard everything I needed to hear. I carefully wipe the tears from my face and nod approvingly. Prove it, I say, and my voice is as cold as the surrounding snowy landscape. There was a mask of confusion on his face. Prove? Shoot that bitch over there. His eyes become even wider than before as the truth of the situation dawns on him. But you have one bullet, Jason. One shot to kill that bitch down there. If you accept this, then this will all just be an accident. You and I will be on the same page, and we will both testify that this was a terrible tragedy. I don't try to hide the excitement in my voice. You betrayed me, but I've known Faye longer, so her betrayal cuts deeper. I used to love her as a friend, but I fell in love with you. So maybe I can bring myself to forgive you. My eyes narrow, but not hers. I see the frosty steam from his breath, escaping faster and faster as his breathing quickens. I don't think I've ever seen him so scared before. If you refuse, I remind him, then I will kill you, and everything will go back to plan A for me. You die in a freak gun accident. He lets out a sigh. He doesn't like plan A one bit. I sigh. However, what if you miss? Well, then I'll have no choice but to shoot you. That means I'm definitely going to jail because there's no way I can pass this off as an accident, right? Your weapon accidentally went off, and then mine did too. Nobody would believe it. I click my tongue thoughtfully. But, as far as I understand, if you miss, I'll shoot you in the groin first, and let you bleed and suffer for a couple of minutes while I shoot Faye there in the field. Then, if I feel generous, I will put you out of your misery. In unison, my husband and I turn to look for Faye. She's 200 yards away, trying to attach the bell to the chain and having a little trouble with her injured arm. I giggle loudly. Elizabeth, you can't do this. He goes silent again when he sees my trigger finger begin to curl. Damn, this feels so good. Although, a little more pressure, and it would probably be a lot better. You are right. I do not want to do this, I say calmly. I think my tough words are now worse than screaming. I want you to do this. If you love me, and if this bitch misled you, then kill her and prove yourself right. He stutters now, completely pathetic. Why did I have to fall in love with such an asshole? You have until the count of 5 to aim, Jason. 12. Before I can count to 3, he already grabs the carbine, although he hasn't taken aim yet. I carefully approach him from behind, pointing my rifle at the back of his head. Now you have until the count of 10 to make a shot. I'm only giving you this much time because I don't want you to miss it. And of course, if you want to die faster, you can always try to point that rifle at me. The emotions on his face paint an incredibly vivid picture. Fear, sadness, disgust. It reminds me of my own face when I found out about it with Faye. 10, I say in a completely dead voice. Liz, please. 9. This. 8. You cannot. 6. He gasps, horror filling his voice as I miss the number. 2. I'm starting to lose patience with myself. I hear a terrible cry of fear as he presses his cheek to the butt. A deafening roar is heard. This is followed by an accompanying ping when extracting the unblocked clip. My heart is soaring, but part of me is also disgusted. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe he did this. At the other end of the field, Faye falls face first into the snow. She screams, but it's hard to hear her through the headphones. Is she hurt, Jason? I think this is reasonable. I suppose a headshot would be more suspicious, but now we have to wait for her to bleed out. Well, Jason sobs uncontrollably, and I pat him on the back. Well, well, honey. You'll never have sex with her again, but at least I made you an honest man. I step away from him and point the gun at the back of his head again. I pull the trigger, but only a little. I can't believe how good it feels. Soon I loosen my finger, although I still keep the gun pointed at him. From the other end of the field, Faye's shrill scream gradually becomes more audible. Shooting, shoot is cold! Shooting, shoot is cold! She screams, covering her head with her hands. The reaction again is stupid, but mostly involuntary. As soon as Jason looks up, he sees that Faye is alive and rises to her feet. She appeared unharmed and threw herself to the ground when the shooting began. Did you miss? I say, as if surprised. I never would have thought that you wanted to get shot in the groin. I aim for his crotch. It was an accident, I swear. I did not miss on purpose, Jason exclaims, and every word is filled with horror. Give me another round. I swear I will not miss again. Please. One more chance. He looks so pathetic. I want to cry again because of the love I have ever felt for this man. I feel almost as much disgust for myself as I do for him. I shake my head as if disappointed. I gave you too many chances, Jason. He presses his hands to his groin in the same universal, hilariously useless gesture. Faye! I scream at the top of my lungs. Get your ass over here! I lower my rifle, and Jason stares at me, clearly too scared to speak. As soon as Faye returns, I take out my phone and start fiddling with it nonchalantly. What the hell was that? Faye screams. Her eyes are wild and confused. Who tried to shoot at me? Jason is still in shock, so I answer for him. Your lover did it. Surprise at being caught blooms on Faye's face, displacing her initial anger. This is clearly accompanied by fear of me and my carbine. Now Jason starts shaking his head. She made me... I told him to shoot you or die. There is absolutely no emotion in my voice. I loaded the clip with 7 blank cartridges. It was his choice to sacrifice your life to save his. But I really wouldn't do that to you. I may, unfortunately, have a conscience, unlike you two. Have you loaded? Her voice is full of fear and rage. I know this feeling. I'm surprised by how little shame I see in her expression. What a bitch. I loaded the clip, which you inserted into the magazine. I knew Jason could see the blanks, so I asked his stupid lover to insert the clip for me. I see realization dawn on Jason's face, as well as the realization that there was never any threat to begin with. Anger overcomes him, and he stands up trying to take a step toward the less psychopathic of his 2 lovers. I missed on purpose, he declares, a lying snake until the very end. I see growing suspicion on Faye's face. She knows he's a liar, but would he lie to her? Perhaps, I say, shrugging. There is a long, silent pause, which is interrupted by Faye's phone ringing. Perfect timing. You might want to watch the video I just sent you, Faye. I never turned off my phone camera. The footage I sent shows Jason begging for a second round to kill you. I don't know how clear the picture will be, but I'm sure the sound is perfectly audible. I believe you can quite trust the one you chose. The former couple stare at each other. Two deceivers, both aware of the lack of honor among thieves. I walk over to the table and take the keys to the truck. The carbine is in my hands, not aimed, but not forgotten either. I need you two to stay here until I leave. You will find your own way home. I should take your phones, but I guess you'll need something to look at while you wait for a ride. May I once again recommend the video I just posted? I think this is very interesting. Faye's eyes narrow in disbelief. She may have even heard Jason begging me to give him another shot when it happened, but she wouldn't have been able to hear him clearly. However, now I suggested that she reconsider the events as they unfolded. Of course she doesn't want to believe it, but we both know that I have never lied to her in the past. I was a good friend. Oh, and the last thing. There's a hint of sardonic humor in my voice that I can't hide. Make sure you pay extra close attention to the video the first time, Faye. I sent a video from the Privacy messaging app. You know that, right? This is the same one that people like you use to send sexy videos to their married lovers. Material is always deleted after the first viewing. I accidentally came across the app on Jason's phone. Honestly, this was the first clue that pointed to his infidelity. However, now I see that the app has other uses. I'm sorry you can't watch this over and over again to get the full effect, but I certainly can't have you showing this movie to the police, can I? Liz. Jason takes a step towards me, and I point the rifle at him again. Don't you dare, damn it! I never want to see your ass again. I've already taken care of the legal side. I won't be able to get everything we had, but I think I'm definitely on the winning side of this deal. We both know the truck is registered in my name, but that's just the beginning. I smile sweetly as Jason's tower of cards begins to crumble in his mind. But hey, you can keep the girlfriend you tried to kill. As long as she stays with you, of course. Now it was Jason's turn to look annoyed. We're all hypocrites here, honestly. Don't point a carbine loaded with blanks at me, Elizabeth. You've already admitted that. I raise the carbine to my shoulder, aiming it at targets within shooting range. There is a loud crash, followed a moment later by a subtle ringing sound. 200 yards away. It's such a sweet sound. I don't need your help anymore, Jason. We're done. I will never need anything from you again. The look of shock on his face is the sweetest reward I can imagine. Of course, he couldn't prove it, but at that moment he understood. If he hadn't shot Faye, I would have killed them both. And, of course, he's right. I can still kill them even now. But what do I gain from this? As I approach the truck, I see Jason trying to hug his lover. She looks at her phone and moves away from it in disgust. My laughter is loud and cruel. I jump into the car and put it in gear. Surprisingly, I don't feel any sadness. I thought I would be sad right now, or at least numb. Instead, I feel elated. A feeling of joy grows in my soul, which I never expected. Basically, I removed a cancerous tumor, and the cut is so clean that there is almost no blood. I start to pull away, but then I stop. I hang my rifle out the window. The fear appears on Jason's face again, but Faye is still watching the video on her phone. She has moved further away from my future ex-husband, and her posture is alienating to him, both prim and cold. As cold as, well, you know. Taking only a moment to enjoy the nervousness in Jason's eyes, I shoot at the heater. The equipment splashes and fails. They don't deserve it. Of course, they can always share their body heat, but for some reason I don't see that happening. It's not really my fault. If they wanted to be warm, they should have treated each other better, right? Their voices are already rising in furious arguments as I pull onto the main road and drive away. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.